Let's make the call to the bullpen and welcome in future Mets Hall of Famer Lee Mazzilli. Congrats, Maz. Very happy for you, man. What was your reaction when you first found out today you were getting inducted?
Thank you. I found out a little bit ago, and I was overwhelmed. It's I waited 50 years for this.
That's it?
It's awesome. It's just so special. And what makes it really special for me, obviously for my family, but to go on with Bobby. And, Bobby and I were roommates together with the Mets in the 70s, 77 and 78. Back then, you had to have roommates. So going in with Bobby was one of the first calls. And I called him up when I found out. And he answers the phone and he says, "Yeah." And I went, "Hey." And he goes, "Well." And I said, "Well." And like no one wanted to say anything that we were going in together. So it's special that him and I are going in together. It's
all right, Maz, cool. You've been with the Mets obviously a long time. You had a couple of stints. What was your most memorable moment in a Mets uniform?
There were a few, Sal, to be honest. And I think the first one would be the time I put that uniform on. To get to the big leagues, my first game, and Joe Torre was my teammate. In 1976, I went to Chicago, and there was Tom Seaver, Jerry Koosman, Bud Harrelson, all these players that just a couple of years removed, I was in high school watching them play, and now all of a sudden they're teammates. So I look at that. I look at the All-Star game. I look at the World Series, so there are very, very, very special moments for me putting that uniform on.
So you had your first stint, obviously, when the Mets, like you said, your big league debut, almost 40 years since the 1986 World Series championship team. Yeah. How excited were you to come back to the Mets in '86?
Well, that was special because I left Pittsburgh, and then, I had the opportunity to sign. I was a free agent. I was released by Pittsburgh, and I had other offers out there to go on a multi-year deal, believe it or not. And then at that time, my agent got a call from the Mets and say the Mets are interested in you, with no guarantee about coming and playing during the '86 season. They really wanted to sign me for '87. And I knew the Mets were the best team in baseball at that time, but I wanted to go to the playoffs. I didn't really get a chance the first 10 years there, and now I knew the Mets were the best team, and I wanted to go to the playoffs. But I also had another option to go to, and it took me a little while to decide to come back. And I spoke to my wife about that and the family, and I made that decision because I knew at that time, if I can get there, that I may have a chance to be a world champion. And it worked out just perfectly, And
not only were you a world champion, you had the pinch hit single and scored the tying run in Game 6. Yeah. What do you remember from that at bat and how that game ended?
Well, I knew we were behind, and it's one of the craziest games in the world. To describe that game is just, it's like ridiculous because, I was playing right field. That's when Davey made the double switch with me and Straw at the time. After that inning, we tied it up, which I was shocked. Davey said, "Go to right field." I went, "Huh?" Like, what? Because he took Straw out at that time. And I remember being in right field, and they gave up a run. And I just kind of put my head down and saying, "Oh, man, we're not going to win this." And then all of a sudden, I'm thinking, you know what? We have a chance. We're only down 1 run. And then they scored another run. So now we're down 2 runs. Wasn't looking very good at the time. And and every Met fan knows what happens next in that 9th inning. And there's no one that can tell me that they can say, well, we were going to win that game with 2 outs. 2 strikes, no one on base, and to come back, it was just something that you could not dream, write up, anything, and imagine that could happen. So it was a crazy, crazy game. Absolutely crazy.
You're going to be able to control your emotions on the date of your induction. I've got you pegged as a crier, Maz.
I think you might be right. I hate to admit that to you. You might be right.
I know you.
I'm going to tell you why. Let me tell you why. One, there's a lot of reasons. I don't know if I'm going to get into that, but I was born and raised there. I grew up as a kid in that organization. so there's so many great memories, and my family to share with. And then I had my granddaughter there. That little Sophia, she's going to be there, and she's going to be like 1.5 years at the time, almost 2. And do you know that in 30 years, when we're long gone, she's going to go to Citi Field and say, "Hey, that's my grandpa up there." And I think that's kind of cool, man. I think that's kind of cool. So, don't let it out of the bag, Sal. Don't let it out of the bag.
Well, now you're going to make me cry, for goodness sake. That was tremendous.
I will that day. I'll get to it that day.
Maz, congrats, man. We appreciate the time. Very happy for you. We'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, guys. And also congratulations to Bobby and Carlos. All the best, everyone. Thanks, New York.
There you have it. Lee Mazzilli, future Met Hall of Famer.